What is the metal movie? Okay, this is Spinal Tap. But what is the metal horror movie? Sure, you could say Deathgasm, you could say Trick or Treat, maybe even Demons. That was a good one. But to me, there will always be one king of metal movies. Black Roses.
There were some movies, terrible movies, movies so awful, no one would touch. Then came a Matthew, sad little Matthew. Matthew decided these movies to watch. For every good movie, there's at least 10 bad. Matthew gonna drag himself through the crap to find the worst ones there are to be had.
Today's episode, Black Roses. Hello, things from another world. I am called RJ McCready, and it's the end of Metal-ween, the final installment for this year. And boy, do I got a good one for you. So allow me to cast your minds back to the Satanic Panic. There's always been a moral pushback against rock music, because it started as black people music, and we can't let our good, wholesome white children listen to black music. So it was labeled evil pretty early on, which created a bit of a feedback loop. Only open-minded, progressive people were listening to rock, so rock became more progressive, the conservatives demonized it even more, and so it became more anti-conservative, until we hit the boiling point sometime in the 70s when bands started incorporating overt satanic imagery into their works, just to scare the anti-rock Christian crowd. But the 80s gave rise to something else entirely. The Satanic Panic, where more and more Christians became concerned their children were somehow involved in Satanist cults. Why did they think this? There was absolutely no basis to the Satanic Panic. It's not like there was a rise of paganism or occultism in the 80s. If anything, it was way worse in the 60s and 70s. Still, the times they were a-changin'. Movies were more violent, music was more explicit, and bad things kept happening. It had to be the devil's handiwork. So concerned evangelicals turned their gaze towards anything they didn't like. Violent movies, heavy metal, Dungeons and Dragons, fantasy movies. It didn't end in the 80s either. I remember my parents being upset about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Harry Potter, but it was definitely way worse in the 80s. That sets the stage for today's film, Black Roses, a film that asks the question, what if a metal band actually was evil? The film comes to us from John Fasano, the director of that other metal horror movie, Rock and Roll Nightmare, as well as the MST3K classic, Zombie Nightmare. A lot of nightmares, this guy. It was written by Rock and Roll Nightmare assistant director Cindy Carlisle. She's worked on 2 other movies. That's it. Notable actors include Ken Swafford, who was in the Red Brown Captain America. I suppose he's probably better known for his roles in the Andromeda Strain and Thelma and Louise, though. There's Julie Adams, the love interest in Creature from the Black Lagoon. Side note, I just want you all to know, the creature's name is canonically Gillman. And notably, Carmine Appice, a musician who's written music for Rod Stewart. Metal? Okay, his brother Vinny Appice worked with Dio, and that's pretty metal. In fact, Carmine would provide the drums for the metal band in this movie. Along with him, the fake band would consist of the lead singer and the guitarist from King Cobra, and Chuck Wright, the bassist from Quiet Riot, and a relatively unknown keyboardist. Wright Appice and King Cobra singer Mark Free are credited with writing the band's music. So let's take a look at one of the most famous and one of the greatest metal horror movies. This is Black Roses. Okay, we're 1 second in, and it's the joke where they're playing non-metal music, and I go, metal! It's a funny joke because it's not metal. Luckily, this is just an establishing shot, and we get right into the music. And they're already demons? Get spoilers! The song's literally about how they're absolutely real demons.
This ain't no false facade, and this ain't no freak disguise.
Also, why does the singer have a big fake-looking mouth when the bassist looks like he just has some makeup on? His mouth could move normally. Why would you not use that costume for the singer? Although, according to the original VHS, the special effects are fantastic. According to the people who made this movie, I guess. Anyway, the man comes to shut their music down, but the demons have turned everyone into zombies, and they kill him. There is no twist to this movie, they just get it all out up front. And it looks like Benny Boy is looking for a second reference this month. But Ben Shapiro probably thinks this movie's a documentary. And here's the main character, Tony, who's a slacker that doesn't play by the rules. As a slacker who doesn't play by the rules, I find the continued existence of this trope to be a gross caricature of my people. Also, if this guy's in high school, then I'm a 7th grader. And in classic 80s high school tradition, they do a group discussion on the poem, but it lasts all of 2 minutes before the bell rings. Also, exposition says Black Roses is having their first concert in this small town, even though we already saw another concert they had. It's also the first rock concert this town's ever had, and the parents are none too happy. And the parents' committee is being led by Tipper Gore. I know that's not actually Tipper Gore, but that's clearly who she's based on. I can't believe I have to talk about Al Gore twice during Halloween. Okay. Tipper Gore was Al Gore's wife, and in the 80s, she led this group, whose name I forget. She ran Parents Music Resource Center, the group who got the legally required parental advisory stickers on album covers. Of course, this character also kind of looks like Thatcher, so maybe that's just how all morally overbearing women looked in the 80s. And this movie falls into that Stephen King trap of, whoa, look at the wacky religious people trying to say everything is evil and satanic, but the thing they're saying is evil and satanic actually is evil and satanic.
Pull down society, only then can we be free.
Hey, sounds good to me, man. Also, do they have an American and a Canadian flag up there? Does this take place on the border? What country are we in? Anyway, the mayor gets up and gives a speech about how music can't be taken literally, and how art isn't evil, and also how there's nothing he can do to stop the concerts. Thanks, middle-aged authority figure. Like, yeah, there's the cool poetry teacher who likes Black Roses, but the mayor? I feel he's on the wrong side of this. By the way, the cool poetry teacher's name is Matt. And then Tony has this rant about how the Black Roses concert is the only cool thing that ever happened in this town.
Johnny.
What? Johnny? Did his name change? They call him Johnny the rest of the movie, but his mom clearly calls him Tony at the beginning.
Tony?
But tonight, I want to paint this town red.
You know, paint the town red is an expression, right? Also, how did you break into that hardware store? And where did you get red paint? Don't they usually have to mix those paints? You'd be better off stealing spray paint. And he abandons the half-empty can of paint he barely used any of. How is it mostly empty? Oh, it's evil. Well, now everything makes sense. Mr. Matt, you've been staring at that pocket knife all class. Are we gonna do anything?
Deface or pollute the environment, and you'll find yourself up against stiff penalties.
80s, you were so naive.
Well, okay, have a nice day.
Again, that was less than a minute of discussion.
What's up?
He knows. He just told me he knows. But he's not gonna tell.
Were they filming an after-school special about, like, the dangers of heavy metal, and then halfway through it got co-opted into a horror movie? Because that wouldn't surprise me at this point. Black Roses hold a concert for the Parent Teachers Association to prove they're not bad guys. See, they look so wholesome. And of course they play the most bland, inoffensive, mainstream thing they can. A power ballad. Power ballads suck. They are always the worst song on the album, yet they're always the most popular. Did you know Whitesnake has written songs that aren't just Here I Go Again on My Own? And they are all way better than Here I Go Again on My Own. I'm sorry, I just really hate power ballads.
And they hear one song and decide, that's good enough, nothing evil here. And as soon as the parents leave, they fucking rock out. So hard that the kids are all burnt out the next day. Okay, like, someone in this class had to have missed the concert, right? For concerned parents, or they couldn't get a ticket, or they just don't like metal.
That's always struck me as weird about movies like this. Like, these small town kids are all obsessed with this one thing that's usually not that popular. Like, usually it's like metal or horror movies, but sometimes it's like a really specific sport, like BMX biking. Surely there's one kid in this town that doesn't like Black Roses.
Even the dumb, overly Italian jock is into it, much to the dismay of his father, who's a straight-up Sopranos character. No, literally, he was a recurring character on The Sopranos. He tries to turn the Black Roses music off, but you can't silence metal. And then a dinosaur pops out of the speaker.
I've listened to T-Rex before, but this is ridiculous.
And it eats him. So that's cool. Matt gets home, opens a beer, and pours the tiniest bit into his cup before taking a drink. Also, he has a framed picture of him and some students. Like, current students. Like, I get you want to show that the kids like him, but I kinda understood that already. And there's another Black Roses performance that literally melts faces.
Turn up the power, turn up the lights. We're on a mission and we rock all night.
Really? This song? Imagine what their faces would do if they heard something heavier than a Lost Scorpions B-side.
And this causes all the kids to become criminal punks, even breaking Matt's car window. So he goes and has an argument with his barely established girlfriend. Has she been on screen more than, like, once this movie?
Because it's about my students. And when have you ever been the slightest bit interested in my students?
I'm always interested in your little students.
This argument carries no weight. I don't know who this woman is. He has a more developed relationship with his student Jamie. Although, I've neglected to bring that plot point up because it's weird and not that important.
So, this is the mighty Batman. I never thought you'd be so mighty.
Wait, is that a Mysterio action figure? Kid, you know Mysterio is Marvel and Batman is DC.
Jason, you still up? Son, it's 11 o'clock. School night.
What? He's right across the room from you. Yelling and throwing toys into the fire, I might add. You're not gonna get the toys out of the fire? Father of the Year. His daughter comes home from the concert with her friend.
Oh, she'll be out till about 1 or 2.
That's right, Tina. We have Daddy all to ourselves.
Oh.
I've seen one too many pornos to be comfortable with where this is going. More than one too many, in fact.
And the Italiano jock comes home and hits his mom with a car. We've all been there. Now hold on, watch this. First off, he gets up to ramming speed in his driveway and stops on a dime, and she just flies through the air. I guess she's dead. Maybe some blood or something to signify death? This is an R-rated movie. The special effects are fantastic. Yep, exactly as I suspected. Playing gin rummy.
We don't play with the devil's cards in this house.
Ah, but then she gets flirty. Good for her. And then Tony Johnny gets a gun and shoots his dad. This is the last time Tony's gonna be that important to the plot. I really thought he was the main character, but now he shoots his dad and that's it.
A gin.
I guess you win the prize then.
The prize? You've got like 4 pieces of clothing left. Guess the police never got around to the reports of kids killing their parents because everyone's in school the next day. Come to think of it, if they're being hooligans, why did they even show up for school? Lame.
Hope you're starting to get a feel for what the American Transcendentalist writers are all about.
Why do we have to study all these dead writers?
Hey man, Ralph Emerson and invented stoner culture, so just lay off, man.
Another adult dies, this time from being shoved out the window. So this movie's like Jimmy Neutron, but they take longer to get to everyone. Oh no, the band is evil. I already knew that. In this scene, there's tits. Whose tits are these? Like a scene later, they reveal it's Jamie, but she's got old lady hands.
I don't know, guys. I think she might have a body double.
She murders her stepfather, fair enough, but then she kills Matt's girlfriend.
Not cool, bro.
Julie shows up at Matt's place and comes on to him, but it looks like he's in for a bad blowjob.
Come on, Matt. No need to raise a racket over it. I should apologize for that joke, but I'm not going to.
Matt kills the demon, by the way. I guess he's the hero now. Thought it was Johnny and or Tony, but I guess it's the boring adult who's our hero. He sneaks into the final concert where a horrifying ritual is going on.
The black roses will rise. Stay with me, my children.
Hey, maybe there's something too evil. No, stay focused. And no one notices him just pouring gasoline. And the band has Julie. Thought she was dead.
Oh, you're good, Matt.
Thanks. Oh my god, he's bald!
He turns into a demon, and Matt just fucking fist fights him.
That's the most metal thing I can imagine.
And after lighting the demons on fire, their spell is broken. But, the demon seems to be vibin'. And everyone lived happily ever after. Oh, except all those kids are going to jail, or, at best, having to live with the heinous crimes they've committed. And the band survived and is playing Madison Square Garden. Wah, wah.
And that's Black Roses, an unfocused, cheesy 80s B-horror movie. I love it.
I don't know how popular this movie is among the normie crowd, but all the metalheads I know love it. Metal's whole aesthetic was born out of cheesy horror flicks like this one. It's just the right amount of satanic panic and pure camp to be exactly what metal fans want to see. It is pretty light on gore considering it's an R-rated movie, but that's the only real issue. I know it seems kinda counterintuitive considering the film directly implies metal music is genuinely evil, but that's a look metal's been putting on itself a long time.
That's gonna do it for Metal-ween. If you like this video, you can check out my review of Rock and Roll Nightmare from the same director. And, I always hate to see Metal-ween go. I really enjoy doing the Metal-ween videos. But there are other franchises I love that need their attention. So until next time, I'm Matt, and this is Matt's Fun Time Bad Movie Show.
What the hell's with you two? Johnny, can I talk to you, please?
What about?
About last night. About last night.
Come on.
You know who's a great character to dress as when you live in Texas? A guy who lives in the Arctic Circle. This is a very hot costume. You know they don't even sell plastic flamethrowers at, Spirit Halloween or whatever? They sell plastic shotguns, plastic axes, plastic AKs, plastic chainsaws, plastic every weapon except flamethrowers. Guess there's not a huge market for that. Sorry for the people who want to dress up as McCready, or Ellen Ripley, or the guy from Don't Go in the House. Gotta build your own out of a power washer and some soda bottles. Isn't this the second year in a row you've dressed as a John Carpenter character? Yeah, man. John Carpenter owns Halloween. That's why he directed the greatest Halloween movie of all time, and produced the second greatest Halloween movie of all time. Hold on, second best? What about Nightmare Before Christmas? Nightmare Before Christmas is already the second best Christmas movie. It can't be both.
Well, you might have a point there.